Nope is the new film from Oscar-winning director Jordan Peele, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer and Steven Yeun. It's centered around a ranch in California where OJ and his sister Emerald are trying to maintain the father's ranch after he sadly passes away when a coin dropped from a great height embeds itself in his skull. They're struggling to keep their heads above water, and OJ is not his father when it comes to selling his business to local film directors. His sister is, however, and she becomes immediately annoying.
Let's have a great shoot. And I'm Emerald Haywood. I direct, write, produce, act. I do a little singing on the side. Motorcycles, baby. Look, I make a mean grilled cheese. If you're looking for crafty, just holler at me.
So while they're trying to figure out how to make money and keep the ranch going, OJ starts to see strange things in the clouds above the ranch, which is spooking the horses. Realising their surveillance system around the ranch is inadequate, they enlist the help of Angel, a tech guy at the local hardware store, who gives them a full comprehensive package, even though every camera is pointing at the sky. On the other side of the valley is a cheesy old Wild West theme park place, run by Steven Yeun playing Ricky. He's got a bit of a weird backstory, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in the overall arc of the film, but I'll get on that in a second. He runs this film park with his 3 kids and wife, and is only too keen to buy OJ's horses off him, but for a much cheaper price than what he'd get hiring them out to the film directors, and all that is explained later on in the film. As the film ticks along, once the story starts, about 35 minutes in, the overall goal of the main characters isn't to capture or thwart this mysterious thing in the sky. It's just to get a picture of it or to get it on film so they can sell the footage and make money for the ranch.
I'm talking rich and famous for life.
There's plenty of videos for flying shit online.
Ain't nobody gonna get what we gonna get.
What we gonna get?
The money shot.
What's up?
Undeniable proof of aliens on camera. The Oprah shot.
Makes sense in this day and age, I suppose. And all those new surveillance cameras will really come in handy for that. As the film progresses, they actually get the help of a professional director played by Michael Wincott and that amazing voice of his, with a hand-cranked IMAX camera for some reason. Now, while this film has actually won an award and been nominated for many, the award it won was Most Anticipated Film, which isn't actually a mark of quality. I didn't actually think it was that fantastic. The biggest problem is the performances from the main actors. Now, Daniel Kaluuya is a very good actor. I've seen him in Get Out and a few other things, but in this film, he just looks bored, disconnected, disjointed. It just looks like he doesn't want to be there. There's no emotion from him whatsoever. I don't know if that's meant to be his character, but it really is the actual visual representation of sleepwalking through a film. Even during the action scenes, there's a few, he just honestly still looks bored. Keke Palmer, on the other hand, has got more than enough personality to be going on for the entire cast. She starts off annoying and she carries on from there to a tiny bit of redemption at the end, which I won't spoil too much. But the most interesting character for the wrong reason is Steven Yeun. Now, the film itself opens with audio only of what sounds like a sitcom being recorded. Now, I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, even though I don't think it's actually spoiling anything. So the opening audio is a sitcom and somebody's getting a birthday present. You can't hit. There's no video to it at all, it's just the audio. Then it cuts and then there's just screaming. You think, crikey, what the hell's this got to do with anything? There's a chimpanzee with blood everywhere and there's a shoe standing on end on the carpet. Cut to 20 years later, or however many years later. You think, don't know what the hell that was about and what the hell's that got to do with alien spacecraft over a ranch in California. So, several years later, we catch up with OJ and Emerald on the ranch after the father dies, trying to make headway, and the chubby Asian child is now Ricky, who owns the cheesy Wild West ranch. And the interest he has in OJ's horses isn't exactly beneficial to their welfare. The movie itself is billed as a horror, and despite a genuinely creepy moment in the stables when the lights go off, there's not really anything you'd call horror about this film. It's creepy, apart from that scene at the start with the chimpanzee and the scene with the audience at Ricky's Wild West show. There isn't really a lot of horror in the film. It is creepy, but it's long-winded. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes, 130 minutes, and it really feels that long. You get something like a Marvel movie, which are about the same film, if not longer. This felt longer than Infinity War, and I think Infinity War was 2.5 hours. It does drag in places, usually when it's scenes with Daniel Kaluuya looking bored, and I really wished he sorted his baseball cap out. That got really annoying. And there was a bit of a leap of faith with OJ, because this may be a mild spoiler, so warning him here. He figures out that the spacecraft, for it is indeed a spacecraft that's buzzing around the ranch, isn't actually a spacecraft. It's an animal, a very large flying animal that needs to be fed, which is what it's been doing in the ranch. Which is how Ricky has been getting his audiences to his Wild West show. End spoiler. I could say more. I mean, there's not really much else to say about the film. What you see in the trailer is about as exciting as it gets. It's probably no surprise that Kiki stops being annoying by the end of the film, and see if you can recognise the nod to Akira when she ends up at the Wild West town for the final battle. But despite the accolades and the anticipation, is it a film worth watching? Yeah. Is it a film worth watching more than once? No. It's interesting, but it's not very exciting. The special effects are amazing, but then all special effects are these days. I mean, when I was growing up, I've said about my age before, when I was growing up, the most amazing technological advancement that came through early was Tron. And you look at that now, that's dated as hell. The first fully CGI character was the stained glass knight in The Adventures of Young Sherlock Holmes. I think that was the first CGI character created by ILM. But we've advanced so far now within the realms of CGI that it's completely indistinguishable from what's on screen. We came close with something like Star Wars: The Phantom Menace with Jar Jar Binks, the first fully realised CGI character. Even though that's not necessarily true, the first fully realised CG character, I believe, was the Master Control program back in Tron, but let's not split hairs. So while the special effects are amazing, they're nothing fantastic. And that may be why cinema attendances have started to drop so low that one of the more popular cinema chains in the UK quite recently filed for bankruptcy protection. An article published in the Wall Street Journal has claimed that the Cineworld chain, which apparently is the second largest cinema chain in the world, probably after Odeon, is preparing to file for Section 11 bankruptcy, Chapter 11 petition for bankruptcy in the US. What that means is a bankruptcy protection, which means it's not full bankruptcy, but it's just trying to protect itself after losing about £4 billion after being unable to entice people back into the cinema after COVID. Now, this is kind of understandable that in the 2 years that we weren't allowed to go out, people found solace in streaming. Netflix, Paramount, Hulu, Disney Plus, they jumped on the bandwagon pretty bloody quick. And you can see the appeal because you're in your home, you're comfy, you got your snacks nearby, you haven't got anybody screaming in your ear or rustling popcorn in your ear. Who invented popcorn for cinemas? Or nachos? It's the most stupid thing. Anyway. So you can see why people would prefer that. I can watch any film I like on here as long as I own it, obviously. And of course I wouldn't possibly ever consider downloading anything illegally, because that's just wrong. But I'm going to post a link below this video. It's very local because one of the largest cinemas of the chain in this area is in my closest town. And it's quite unfortunate for them because they've just opened an IMAX screen and a Screen X and a 4DX. And if you don't know what the 4DX is, the seats move and you get sprayed with water while you're trying to watch a proxy film. Why? But that costs a lot of money, and now it looks like they may not be making that money back. But if you look on that article, you will see that most of the comments underneath will all say the same thing. Tickets are too expensive, and the snacks are too expensive. So if you go to the cinema for a family day out, family of four, you're looking at about £15 per ticket each, £5 to £8 each for snacks and drinks. That's nearly 80 quid. For one day out. Now, I personally have a season pass. I've only just recently got it back. I cancelled it during COVID because I wasn't going to the cinema because nobody was going to the cinema. Got it back in May. And since then, I can look through my history, I have seen, since May, 7 films. Would I say they were all worth the price of admission? Mostly. I'll run through. First one I saw was in May. That was Top Gun Maverick. Amazing film. Worth the price of admission, absolutely. Top spot for quite some time. Not quite enough, obviously, for this chain. Next one was Men. I don't know why I went to see that film. Rory Kinnear's in it, and apart from one or two other guys, he actually plays every male character in the film. Basically, the plot is all men are the same and all men want to kill you, I think. And it doesn't have an ending. There is no ending to the film. It's bonkers as hell. It's made by the same director who filmed Annihilation with Natalie Portman. That is a good film, but having recently rewatched it, there's some underlying themes there that I think were a little bit on the nose. Watch it anyway. I think I spoke about it in my Ghostbusters Will Only Ever Be a Trilogy video. So I'll talk about it in there. Next one, Jurassic World Dominion. No. I'm going to say no. Too disjointed, too scrappy. Characters jumping from one scene to the other with no cohesion between. Wasn't a fantastic fan. My family's seen it. Did you like Jurassic World Dominion?
It was okay.
That's a 3.5 star review from Max there. Thanks very much, Max. Next one, Lightyear. I liked Lightyear a lot. I know about the backlash, and I'm maybe doing another video, not about Lightyear, but I'm going to talk about the criticism that was levelled towards that film that was blown out of all proportion, pointlessly. Right, next, Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, liked it, a lot of fun. Would see it again, would watch it again. Next, IMAX, Bullet Train. Yeah, okay, that's a good one, I think. Unfortunately, I did sit in the IMAX screen, and for whatever reason, so noisy, and I came out with a headache. And the last one was Nope, which I went to see on Thursday night. I did actually see, that is a lie, I did watch the other one, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with the boys in IMAX. Enjoyed that one as well. So, I pay about £17-18 a month, which is what, $20-something a month to see as many films as I like. But it only becomes worth it if you watch 1 or 2 films a month. Now, since May, I watched 7 films. Not quite making my money back. I don't pay for snacks there. I take my own. Why bother? £2.50 for a bag of M&Ms and £3 for a cup of watered down Coca-Cola. I can see why the appeal has dropped off, and they would have to do something drastic to get people back in the numbers needed to keep the business afloat. Having bouncy seats that get you wet is okay if you're into that thing. I don't want to watch a film like that at all. I want to sit down in my nice comfy seat and be entertained. I do not want to be doing this and getting stuff thrown in my face, making me want to vomit on the screen. But gimmicks like that are just that, gimmicks. You're not a theme park, you're a cinema. And the harsh reality is the only way you're going to get people back into your cinemas is to drastically drop your prices of everything. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. There's not a lot of people know how cinemas really operate behind the scenes. They don't get given the films they show, they have to hire them, which means that's an initial financial outlay. And they don't get a lot of money back on the showings that they broadcast. I think it's about 40% of ticket price. So that ticket price has to recuperate the initial cost of the hire of the film. That's why the concessions are so expensive, because they've got to make their money somewhere. That Starbucks ain't going to pay for itself. So it's a bit of bad timing on the part of our particular cinema. The films that are coming out are becoming de rigueur. The same old story over and over again. Thor was a sequel. Lightyear is a prequel. Top Gun Maverick's a sequel. Jurassic World Dominion was a sequel. The only original films, probably original films out of there, were Bullet Train, which could say was a mixture of Speed and Under Siege 2, possibly. Nope is Nope. And Men, which was dull as... Yeah. So, So if you want to drag people back into your cinemas and pay some decent money, I'm afraid it's not down to the cinemas. And unless the film studios can come up with something absolutely fantastic, consistently and uniquely from this point forward, it probably won't be too long before the cinema is gone and all we're left with is Netflix. Other streaming services are available. So thanks for listening. So a little bit of a film review and a little chat about the state of the cinemas in this country, which doesn't look too promising, truth be told. Hit like and subscribe if you want to see some more. I don't usually say that, and I did physically cringe inside when I said that. And if I ever say smash the like button, everybody has the permission to punch me in the face. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.